I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Solo Ceesay, the CEO and co-founder of Calaxy. Solo, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while since our last discussion. You and your team have been building out Calaxy, the future of social media, for a long time now, and I know that your team just launched it. Excited to dive into all the details of the launch, everything that's going on. But let's kick it up from the top for those who haven't seen our previous interviews or they aren't familiar with Calaxy. I'd love to hear a little bit on your story and the story of you and Spencer Dinwiddie coming up with this idea of a vision of launching Calaxy and reinventing social media.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I appreciate having you back on the show. It's always great to have discussions with you, Ashton. But yeah, Calaxy has been a long time coming. It started roughly around 2019, 2020 as a mere idea. So Spencer Dinwiddie plays on the Brooklyn Nets, is our co-founder and executive chairman. Him and my older brother are actually best friends. And so that's how our story started. And actually, my older brother reached out to me one day, and previously, before I was in Calaxy, or before we founded Calaxy, I was an investment banker. And I focused on securitized products. So that was taking assets and securitizing them, coming up with things like asset-backed securities, mortgage-backed securities, all this type of complex financial instruments. I would help originate. And basically, the process of which I would explain to my parents or my family about what I did for work sounded very familiar to my brother, and so wanted to do with this contract. But he said it made no sense to them. So he's like, what you say every day you do at work makes no sense. What Spencer does every day or talks about every day with this contract makes equally no sense. You guys should talk because maybe it makes sense to you guys. And so that's kind of how it all started. And so Spencer securitized himself. He was the first to be able to do so in 2020. He was able to take his contract, put him on the Ethereum blockchain, sell tokens to his fan base. And that was sort of the beginning of, what kicked us off on this journey for helping content creators or people of influence better extract capital from the capital markets. But we saw an even bigger opportunity in then securitizing sports contracts to help tokenize the creator economy, which is measured at $250 billion and growing. And so we wanted to get a piece of that action and allow content creators to be able to change the paradigms upon which they create content and really create incentive models that actually make it so that people are incentivized to create content versus not go get another job or go do something else, just because the way it currently functions is it's very difficult to make a living, solely off content creation. We actually published a stat a couple of days ago that kind of went crazy on Twitter, which was more than 97.5% of YouTubers don't meet the poverty line, which is obviously, quite crazy of a stat when you think about all the people and the huge followings that some of these creators have.
Mm-hmm. Wow, incredible backstory. And I can see, that trail of, hey, we should tokenize our salary, but really it's not, cool, something's on the blockchain. What does that really mean? I think the idea behind it is getting your fan base involved, or having that better connection between entertainer or content creator and the fans. And I see what you're saying with, I've also been posting on social media a lot, and not only is it really hard to connect to your fans directly, financially, you can't really, you have to go through all these intermediaries. And I feel like there needs to be a solution for that. And maybe you can talk about that fan creator connection on Calaxy, how exactly it would work, where, if they create content or they offer some kind of services, are you able to actually connect with your fans directly and not go through all these middlemen and hoops?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's our core premise is really, and beyond just creator and fan, to be honest with you. But, when we built this, we built it on decentralized technology and peer-to-peer network, Hedera. And the reason why we did so is because when we went to build Calaxy, we wanted to create a social network, not a social media platform. And those are two different things. And when you think about it, is a social network connects people, right? Like Facebook back in the day, or MySpace, social networks. Social media is kind of like traditional. And all these different types of players come in, they change the incentives of the platform. And so even when you see with what X has done, or X Twitter, or whatever you would like to call it, they've changed the way in which people are able to monetize off tweets. But the incentive mechanisms is more like advertising. When you think about advertising, it's like, clickbaity, things that are going to create discourse, like things that are going to make people upset and angry. And it just creates poor incentives for what a community could really look like. Which is not necessarily the environment that we were trying to create. We wanted to create the most fun place for people to hang out and connect. When you're talking about the fan creator experiences, what we wanted to do was create a toolkit for creators to be able to offer experiences that make sense for their demographics. And so when you think about, some of the creators that we have, they could be people that are sports athletes. There could be people that are celebrity chefs, people that are Instagram influencers, lifestyle influencers, TikTokers. Essentially, we want all different types of creators to be able to monetize. And so the features that we built out are, the standard ones, which are like things like video calls, which we're doing right now, things like video messages, exclusive content, NFTs. You can actually purchase a subscription package where you could actually have your favorite influencer follow you on a social media platform of your choice. So it's a very robust platform, but then the two key things are that there's a custom request feature, which allows a fan to request anything and a creator to set a minimum threshold to field that request. And then there's the opposite of that, which is featured experiences where a creator is able to take a prototypical product, something like a video message or a video call, and tailor-made offer something like a cooking class to their fan base, because that makes sense demographic. And so what we wanted to do is eliminate all the bounds for how a creator might be able to actually connect with a fan. We wanted to move it to a peer-to-peer network so that when people come here, we create this big environment where it feels like a big potluck of digital assets that people are able to bring in and out. Let's bring your own digital asset, bring your own NFT, whatever you want to call it, and really create this renaissance of what Web3 technologies and principles are for, and a place of congregation for them to be able to be able to be realized.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of different functionalities that I feel like they have existed in the past, but it was so fragmented. You could get a cameo video from a celebrity off of some site, or you could try and get some of their services. But having one holistic ecosystem where it's the social network where they're on there, they're connected with their friends, and they're able to post, and then they can just do a one-click, like, hey, video message or send some services. Like, this hasn't really existed before, and I feel like this is a long time coming in the making. Like, this should have been here for years now.
We've been saying the same thing. It's almost crazy, because I feel like it's the opportunity is really great for us, and we're super excited about our timing. But there is a renaissance coming in the creator economy. People are waking up and realizing that their audiences aren't just meant to be entertained; they're also meant to serve a purpose, which is allowing creators to be able to continue to create and allow their audiences to invest in their content creation. And so we want to create the most efficient way for people to do so. And it's almost one of those things where, like, Calaxy is more of an equitable social network platform where people are able to engage, not every single user is coming in here to spend money. There might be a lot of content that is free for people to consume, but there's also a lot of pay-per-view content and pay-per-view experiences as well. And I think creating this place where you're able to have that both mechanism makes it so that the place or the ecosystem can grow over time. Outside of just a marketplace activity, there are many reasons why people will come to Calaxy, which is super exciting. And you've seen a lot of that within the Hedera ecosystem and the rallying around our project, and how people are super excited about the prospects of new projects bringing people together. And that's kind of what Calaxy's main focus is to bring people together. It makes people happy. It's where the best experiences of your life happen, whether it's through a video call with your favorite celebrity or just some old memories that you have kicking it into beta when it was, a couple thousand users when it first came out the first day, and then eventually it blew up and all these things. And so we wanted Calaxy to be the first and the happiest place people spend their time.
Amazing, and I love to hear that. And speaking of the first day, you mentioned at the beginning, you and Spencer really started this back in 2019, but the official launch to the public was just last week, and now I'm sure it's been chaotic for you as a tech founder to try and make sure everything's going perfectly. Can you talk about the public launch, how it's been going, and the reaction from the first users and the growth?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been amazing. I mean, I think, to be honest, our launch process was quite interesting. We launched on a random Thursday, and that's kind of like our style. We like to give the market updates when the updates are made available, and we don't really tease them out too much. And so We launched on a random Thursday. We were super excited and met with a ton of inertia and energy from the ecosystem to really be curious about what it is. I think it's interesting because the product itself has matured so much over time that it became just a public utility to Hedera. Previously, it was just not just, but it sounds derogatory, but like it was more focused on the creator relationships with the fans and allowing them to monetize. But it really did grow into a social layer, social network of the Web3 social network, if you call it. In the recent years. And so the release was amazing because a lot of people were able to see that all the benefit, like, hey, I could actually use this. I don't really know any particular creator experience that I'm going to buy, but I want to come here because I'm going to bring my NFTs. I want to come here because I like PFPs. I want to come here because I like the community that's in there and all the features that are in the app. And so it was amazing. People were super excited. The app held up really stable, which we were super excited about. You never really know how these products will go, and Calaxy has been a lot of investment resources and time in the making to get it to market. And so it's very difficult to really build a high design application like that without a lot of bugs, because there's just so many different things that have to go right for the animations to be pretty and for the experience to be what it was. And so I just got to give some more props to my team. They did a great job. I can't stress it enough. I feel like I run behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line every single day. Like, they're really good. So I have great designers, Chad Weston, Rusty McAfee on the strategy side, the rest of my team, and people who've contributed to the project over the years. We are really, really fortunate to have such a good group of people working on Calaxy.
Mm-hmm. Amazing to hear. And you mentioned the Hedera community a few times. Just browsing through the other social medias and being in blockchain for a while, I've sort of seen a little bit of each of the communities, and it seems like the Hedera community, they're really like a tight-knit community. They seem like they're really supporting these projects, and like, I'm curious on the blockchain, the early adopters, people who want to use this technology because they want to showcase the blockchain side of it. What has their reaction been like to using the platform?
To be honest, some of the reactions have been good, like mind-blowingly good. Like, I honestly we were unsure how. We made a lot of decisions that were contrarian to like the understanding of how people access crypto products these days. And so, like, for one of these examples, account verification from account bifurcation from account creation bifurcated from wallet creation. And what I mean by that is when you show up to Calaxy, you're not hit with enter your 12 words to get in here, which, is a lot of friction for people who don't custody anything. Like, you really don't have to know anything to exist, especially at least in America. You really have to know anything about your own personal life, because people are just going to manage that around for you. So, like, when you create a product where it's like sign in with your 12 words, like, these people are like, what? I had to save those? Oh my God, it's so horrible. And so for us, we knew that the demographic that we were trying to serve, we couldn't have a product that was like that. We needed people to very easily be able to access the application. We needed to have multiple user journeys that made sense for the varying types of users that you might be. So if you're a Web3 user, you probably want to set up your wallet right away. Well, you can do that. If you're a Web2 user and may never ever set up a wallet and you want to use your credit card to pay for experiences, just chat with your buddies, you can do that. And so Calaxy is really meant to service both of those types of communities, and it's just a really happy, fun place. And so the Hedera community was super excited about it. We weren't sure if they would like that, but they seemed to love it because they love the idea of, like, now technology is being used to touch audiences that were, never in this space before. And I think what was very interesting is a lot of the people in Hedera were really rallying around, what we choose to build next. And I think it's super exciting to have a lot of that early feel, because people are going to remember, like, I remember when I suggested that we should do X and they went and really built X. Like, it's a very nice, exciting, time for the ecosystem. I think people loved the trailer that we put out as well. It was very high design and very, very Apple-esque. And so we were super excited to put together some really high quality, materials and most ultimately high quality application for our community.
It's amazing to hear, Solo, and I love what you said about just having your credit card there and not also having the 12 words and all the blockchain jargon. If to get a social media platform to hundreds of millions of users, the wallet, I feel like for any blockchain application or anything in Web3, the wallet is going to be the most important barrier to entry to overcome.
Yep.
Because people are so used to just having a wallet in their pocket that just has paper bills. How can we switch that mindset into a digital wallet that's using cryptocurrencies or other, most fiat currencies are already digital, that's on your Apple Pay or in your bank account anyway. So just sort of shifting that mindset, and to be able to have, being able to pay for some content from a celebrity with your credit card, never having to use crypto, I feel like is going to be a major advantage. But I feel like hopefully people will come to on that part of the wallet in the social media app and say, hey, there are actually benefits to using the cryptocurrency, using the stable coin.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. I mean, I think it's interesting because when you think about a regular wallet versus a crypto wallet, what does a regular wallet do? Holds your money. Great. What does a crypto wallet do? Hold your money, sometimes your social identity and attributes, similar to like a regular wallet. But the difference is the regular wallet allows you to actually take the card out and go buy a Starbucks coffee. Like for the 99% of the people, you can actually do that with a regular wallet. You can't do that with a crypto wallet yet. And that's where Calaxy comes in. We wanted to create an easy mechanism for people to easily spend funds, but then also, easily make money, but also easily spend money. And so like Calaxy is a hotbed of utility for your crypto to actually have use. And beyond that is, we actually have been teasing out this feature called sending crypto via DM, which will allow people to very easily send crypto back to wallet to wallet without entering seed phrasing or anything like that. Because obviously we'll know whose wallet is who, and we could handle all of that on our side. And so similar to the tipping feature that you have, where you could tip USDC to a creator, you could actually even send it to your friend, and that should be rolling out soon. But being able to create features like that are going to be what creates the inertia and the desire to want to learn about decentralized assets and learn about how they can be beneficial to the creators or to the users. Because at the end of the day, what you need to do is create that incentive to want them to learn, as opposed to just trying to, fit everything in a round hole in a square peg or whatever, however that saying goes. Just because when you think about it, like, it's going to be a lot more difficult to potentially make it feel exactly like Web2 when you're thinking about a wallet. Mm-hmm. I think the other way to think about it is also like, how do you get people to care about things like self-custody? Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
Calaxy is a very perfect forum for people to do because they can learn a lot about blockchain concepts because they're not hit with so much friction that they can basically come to the wallet when they're ready and willing to learn. And we could also create different incentives for them to want to learn about the wallet. So like, what if you could activate your wallet and, do different types of DeFi activities that are so well engineered and in the interface is so easy that people are doing these DeFi things. And they're like, okay, well, I want to be able to do that. So I'm going to learn about, okay, well, I need to hold these 12 words because that's important. And then there's also innovation in our space currently that allows you to use things like Magic Link and all that stuff where you don't have to worry about those things. And so, there's a lot of opportunity for us to educate the market and really, help them come to realize how important it really is to really own your identity and your own assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if it makes it that simple to be able to send small payments via DM, I feel like that would be a game changer for any social media or just messaging platforms in general. There's been so many hurdles with Facebook trying to create a coin years back, or if I was able to just, on WhatsApp message, hey, here's $10 for the pizza share that you bought me, to have a DM system where you can send small amounts of tips or crypto, that would get me on the social network, right now, just for that function alone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what we're super excited about, is creating utility so that we create a hotbed of utility. And that's not particularly for like creators and fans, right? Like that's a interface network thing that we're trying to build. When you think about what Elon is trying to do with X and all these other platforms, they're trying to do exactly that. But that's the power of a non-custodial wallet, is that you can basically be a bank out of the box.
And it's amazing to see, to hear the reactions and to see the growth. I've looked through the feed. It looks like the early adopters of Calaxy are very excited about the app, and there's actually a lot of engagement, which is super exciting for, just launching in the past 7 days. But I know that there's always hurdles to scale a social media network from the early adopters and the first group of members that it's targeted to 100 million plus people, celebrities and everybody, including our grandparents, are like, hey, we should get on this social platform as well, and it's like Facebook, they started with just the students at the university, and then there was some sort of trigger moment that said, hey, we can make this worldwide platform. And that's going to be especially hard to break through. And now I know that you and your team and Spencer, you guys have connections to the world of sports and entertainment, and that might be a good avenue to have creators and celebrities that already have millions of fans to onboard onto Calaxy. I'm curious if that's part of the secondary marketing strategy, or there's some other strategies to get past the initial hurdles of early adopters.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first strategy was building a product worth switching for. And so like creating switching costs or lowering the switching costs as much as possible, just because there are a few things or a good amount of things that you can do in Galaxy you just can't do elsewhere, which we're super excited about to be able to say as a company that's our size, 15 people max. And so for us, we're a tiny company, but building a great product that makes it easy for you to prove your value proposition is number one. I think number two, you're saying exactly right. Allowing our creators and enabling them to be able to get their marketplace started and allow them to monetize their communities to help bring in customers or consumers or fans or users to Calaxy. That's definitely another strategy. But then also it's the creating features and utility in the social network that make it so important that you need to, and that kind of goes back to the first one, but beyond just the look and feel of your polish and your product, it's also like what utilities are afforded to just being here. What are the benefits for Calaxians or whatever people call us now? That's the word that they came up with in the community, but trying to figure out what actual utilities and benefits you can get from the platform. So sending things like sending crypto through DM is something that might actually be, that puts us in a category of not even just a social network, but also just a financial network. Allows you to create different pools of people that come into the app, and then eventually to discover, oh, it's a social platform. You can do all these different things with it. And so for us, because we hit so many different crosshairs, we're excited to be able to pull from a lot of different types of audiences to be able to get them excited. And then also it's, using the Web3 ecosystem that we've built in Hedera, or, the community that we've built, and leveraging that as a nugget to get other types of people or other ecosystems in here, which is actually really good for us because it's going to be important for us to be able to grow this, to have input and to have input from the market in the industry as a whole, but then also have participation from all the different ecosystems. And that's going to be really good for us because I think it's going to create even more collaboration, and then it's also going to create more awareness about Hedera. And how people can leverage the technologies to build consumer-facing apps.
I love that answer, Solo. And yeah, if you build a great product that has functions that are just so easy to use and can't be found elsewhere, people will come to use that product. It's simple as that. And I think, speaking of getting the best bang for your buck, obviously the decentralized wallet's going to help with the centralized payment processing fees, that people are trying to avoid with credit card fees and things like that. But I also saw that Calaxy is taking a different approach to that creator experience, where you're not actually on the App Store, to make it a better bang for the buck for the users. Now, can you explain that strategy?
No, that's a great question. To be honest, it's one of my favorite parts of the application. It is polarizing. A lot of people definitely have developed a lot more comfort for Apple in the App Store. It's very tough. You can never really win, just because people will always say, like, I don't trust anybody. I'm Web3. Like, I don't trust big tech. I don't trust anything. But then people want to trust the App Store in terms of the applications that they get on to use Web3. So it's very interesting. But for us, we wanted to build the easiest entryway into the app. We know that building as a web app allowed it to be very easy for us to enable Android and iOS users from day one, both internationally and domestically. But then also it allowed us to get around Apple's 30% tax that they have on all in-app payments, which would be really tough. And then also it just gives us so many other benefits. Like, you're able to push instant updates So if there's some vulnerability or if there's some sort of bug that's really bad and destroying the user experience, we're very easily able to push and update our hot fix that fixes that. We're tweaking the algorithm in live time to get it to feel a certain type of way, which is, obviously a tinkering process, but you're very easily able to do that when you're a web app. But if you're caught behind the Apple paywall, it may not always, the Apple App Store, certain things and fixes may not easily be made possible. And beyond that, the 30% tax really impacts the marketplace activity, which is going to obviously limit demand. You're passing that on to the consumers and makes a less efficient market. And so I think it's really exciting because it's going to kick off a renaissance of people knowing that there are different ways to build applications. And hopefully it's the challenge historically is that building a good progressive web application, or PWA, has been challenging for a long time. But I think we've been able to prove that you can go a long way if you're just clever and, work a little bit harder. You can build a nice experience as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great strategy. And as you said, you build a great product, people will come. Doesn't matter if it's on the App Store or just going to the Calaxy site to download it. And a lot of these smaller apps that they already have tight profit margins, and like Apple's just 30% is like a lot. So
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's like the cartel. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Like 3-5 is crazy. But,
yeah, so I commend you guys for having the direct strategy. I feel like it's in the ethos of Web3 as well. You're already connecting directly to the creators and the fans, and your friends must be connecting directly to the app as well. So I commend you for that. And so if people are on their iPhone, they can't go to the App Store, where do they go to download the app?
Yeah, all they do, it's quite simple. It actually takes less than 10, 12 seconds if you know what you're doing. But you go to the Calaxy website. There's gonna be an open app button. You click that, and then it's gonna give you prompts to save it to your home screen or save that page to your home screen. And essentially, what you're doing is you're bookmarking that URL so that you can create an instance of the PWA for which it will be accessible from your home screen, just like any other app would. And when you click it, you're right into the application. And so within 10 to 15 seconds, you're already in the app. It's booting. You enter your credentials, your desired username, etc., and you'll be into the application. Versus normally when you think about what conversion looks like, you see a link somewhere, or you're told, hey, go download this app or whatever. So you have to close out where you're going, search for the App Store, find the app. You're not finding the app. You finally find the app. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a lot of value in having somebody or some centralized party to blame if what you buy or you access isn't good. So that's the harder part we have to get around, is because there's like that reputational thing that people like apps that are in the App Store. But it's a very disjointed process. Whereas for us, if you access the link from a creator's Instagram or you see it on Twitter, et cetera, you're straight in this linear path on web to the Calaxy website, saved on home and into the experience. It doesn't disjoint the experience that you have. And so for us, that's how you access the application.
Amazing. And I can leave the link for the Calaxy site in the description box for the viewers as well. Now, we don't have a lot of time left, Solo, but are there any last words on the steps forward now that the launch has happened, continuing to grow the platform and continue to grow the vision?
Yeah, I think the number one words that come to mind are product market fit. And so we are obsessed over it at our company. We're trying to find a way to make sure that all the things that we build are met with the reception from the community that makes sense and justifies the spend for doing so. And so we're super excited to continue to be building features. The best part about all of this is what we choose to build next will be heavily dictated by the community. That's the type of engineering style and the type of building style that we have at Calaxy. And so we're just super excited where the community pulls this and like what kind of product it is. And there's a lot of different opportunities. Calaxy is a wallet. It's like the most social wallet. It's a wallet that actually does things. It's a social network. It's a marketplace. It's all these different things. And so it's exciting to see what people or what the community says Calaxy is for them. And so that's kind of what it is. It's going to be a continued process of getting our creators in here. We have some big creators to work through our roster. We're going to introduce them and work with them and launch them to set up their own shops and start monetizing. So that's something that we're going to be working on in the coming months. It's going to be super exciting to really get more creators in here using this, and then ultimately growing the community itself, introducing features and utilities for the community that makes people's time here just that much better from spending it here versus anywhere else.
Very exciting. Well, thank you so much, Solo, for taking the time. Congrats on the successful launch of Calaxy. All the best with everything moving forward in the network, and let's definitely follow up in the near future.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.